Hello, everyone. This is Dan from USMX Football here. Today, we're going to be discussing Chelsea's final run in and all the different possibilities that we could have to look forward to next season. Specifically, I wanted to talk about what European football might look like next season. Um, Jumping over to the table real quick, I don't think we're guaranteed. No, I believe we are guaranteed European football. Um, But before I go into that, I just want to say really quick shout out to, and I've been seeing people online on Reddit or Twitter um, share the different possibilities with it. Shout out Joe Prince Wright over at NBC Sports for this article. I think it does a pretty good job explaining the different possibilities and permutations that can happen next season. I think I had it somewhere around here. Oh, yeah. So I've been seeing a lot of people say that next season there could be up to 10 teams. I think it's, yeah, right here, 10 teams. But as I was going through it, the different possibilities, I didn't quite understand that. So yeah, but before we get into it, here's a table, and I mean, we can go over this, until you're blue in the face, but I don't think I've seen a top seven this congested. From seventh to third, just being separated by a single point is pretty bizarre. But City are gonna play. They have 2 games in hand, obviously. You'd expect them to take more than 1 point from both of those games. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe City have fallen off that bad. They did. They weren't able to get. They were only able to get a point off Southampton. So who knows? But obviously Chelsea has Forest, so it is in our hands. But if you saw last Friday's game versus Man United, the lineups here, far from convincing in my opinion. I thought Sanchez had an okay game. James had a spectacular game. Enzo honestly didn't have that good of a game, if I'm being honest. I think I might want Lavia there for the Forest game, but I don't know. Colwell did actually really good. So did Cucurella. Tosin did a job. I wouldn't say he was spectacular, but he did a job. Caicedo was man of the match by far. So in the midfield and defensively, it was actually pretty good. But Pedro Neto, I thought, had a horrible game. So many just brainless head down. He never lifted up his head, which is a big problem for me. He would just have his head down, sprinting to the touchline, and just whip in a horrible cross straight to Onana. And I mean, front post, right to Onana's hands, maybe with some power, but it's like, that's never going to beat him. Unless you're trying to score from some crazy angle, it's like, what are you doing? And then on top of that, we're trying to whip these balls into 5'11" Tyreek George, who doesn't even play there normally. I thought it was a ridiculous game plan. Noni didn't have a good game either. And I thought Cole did what he could, but he was also kind of ineffective. And George, I felt bad for him because he shouldn't even be playing in these games, man. But we don't have any other options, and he's been our best option, but he's not a striker. And on top of that, these three practically ignored him all game. They weren't trying to find runs for him or pick him out, take advantage of his strengths. They just ignored him most of the game. So, man, I think for Forest, I don't want to try anything new. But if we're not going to utilize George, what's the point of having him on the field? You're better off just playing a 4-3-3 with Lavia in there and Palmer and Enzo kind of just your attacking outlets with Neto and Madueke out on the wing, and then probably take off one of them for George for some legs. And also I thought Dewsbury Hall could be pretty useful for that game too, because he offers a good amount of stability in the midfield, and also he's not that bad attacking wise. So I think he might be a good shout as well. Gusto, I don't know. I think for some legs he might be useful, but so my starting 11 is probably going to be Tosin or Chalobah. I don't really Chalobah's on the bench. Tosin or Chalobah, don't really mind, but that back four, fine. Sanchez, you can stay in. Enzo, potentially swapping him with George, not as a striker, but just to help Palmer out and throw in Lavia right there. That's probably the only thing I would change for that Forest game. And we know that Forest likes to play. Maybe I should pull them up. Forest likes to play a very. What was the most recent game? Yes, West Ham. They like to play a very physical midfield as well. Aina and Williams are going to be and Alanga as well, and Cho are going to be their wide options. But Elliot Anderson, Sangare, Nico Dominguez, and Gibbs White. Also, I know Yates drops in as well. So is Danilo. That's an extremely physical midfield that we might be able to have the edge on them technical. I don't know what I'm saying. We might have better players, technically speaking, in the midfield as Enzo and Caicedo, but Sangare, Nico, Gibbs White, and Danilo are absolute bullies, man. Gibbs White not as much, but he's still very physical. Him and Elliot Anderson are going to give that creativity, and I'm a bit worried. I really am. Murillo and Milinkovic. I think Milinkovic we can get at him, but we don't have a striker to get at him, right? So we're going up against one of the. Is Forrest the best? Hold on, let me check this. Yeah, this is insane, man. Oh, okay, sorry, I was looking at the goal difference. So I mean, we have Man City has a better defense. Chelsea has, so it's a strong defense, but it's not. I feel like they were hyping up that defense a lot earlier in the season, but I mean, it's still really good for Forest. I don't know what I'm on, but Sells is really what scares me more than anything. That guy can have a world-class game and just ruin our European hopes, genuinely. So Sells is concerning, but so is that midfield. I think that's where, it's cliche, but I think that's where the battle's going to be won and lost, right? Yeah, it's a cliche, but I think in the midfield, that's where the battle's going to be won and lost. Now, jumping over to the article, let's get into those permutations, the possibilities that they were talking about. So, like I said, I don't really see how there's 10 teams getting in. I've read through it, and I didn't really, because where is it? Yeah, this one. They say Chelsea finished seventh and win the Conference League final. Chelsea would play in the Europa League, and the Premier League would have 10 teams in Europe. And I mean, when you consider that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't get it, but maybe you guys can explain it for me in the comments below. But our final two games have so many varying possibilities on what teams get into Europe, what teams don't get into Europe, where do we finish. But I think most importantly, as a Chelsea fan, we should be expecting the most from our players to just win everything they can. Madison, I just realized the conference and the Europa League final is going to be playing after the final week of the Prem. So yeah, everything I just said kind of toss it out the window, because those teams better be going into form on that final day. So we'll have our fate decided before Europa. So yeah, everything I just said, you gotta win all of them, boys. You gotta win all of them. It's, I don't want to waste your guys' time, this 10-minute video, and I'm just going to tell you guys, yeah, we need a win because I expect everyone else is going to win. But at the end of the day, Newcastle-Everton, I'm telling you, Everton is going to be up for that final game of the season. But it's not at Goodison, right? They had that big emotional moment, but I don't know how up they're going to be for that Newcastle game. I know Newcastle's going to be up for it. They're going to be fighting like hell, but so I can't really see Everton getting more than a draw at Newcastle. And yeah, the Man United Villa one, I don't know, dude, because I don't know how United's going to be after the Europa League final, man. And depending on if they win or lose, if they win, I could totally see them having a good game versus Villa, totally. But if they lose, I don't see them carrying. I really don't. It's going to be depressing, the vibe at Old Trafford if they lose. going into that. And same with this Tottenham-Brighton game. If Tottenham lose to United in that final, then this Brighton game is just, that stadium is going to be depressing, man. I think that's the only, because so those are really the only, consequential. City, Fulham, as much as I like this Fulham team and as much as I like this Bournemouth team, City doesn't need to do a lot. They really don't, unless they lose both games, lose and draw one. I just don't see it. Fulham's been very good, so I can see them maybe getting a result there, but City, Bournemouth, I feel like City's going to get a point there. I really do. So with all of our competition, all of our, the teams we're competing against taking points, it's up to us to do the job against Forest. There's no lollygagging about, man. Let's go back to the table. There's no room for that. Shout out Liverpool. They're winning right now. Who scored actually? Salah. Is Salah adding to that tally? Harvey. Okay, so okay. Sorry for that. Unrelated. But yeah, man, we gotta win. I know it's a long video just to say we gotta win, but there we go. There was some analysis in there as well. So there you go. I am gonna have a dedicated video to the Betis game. We can talk what Betis is gonna look like, what we can expect. But for now, that's where we are in the league. Fingers crossed things go well, but it's gonna be tough. All right, thank you all for watching, and hope you have a good one. Peace.